how we want to start this.
I don't know. I feel like we're like, hey, Barons.
Oh my god, no. Guys, well, okay, I'm peeking a little bit on that one there. Alright. Guys, welcome to our first episode of Steadfast Rebels. I think we're calling this Always Making. I think
That works.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
This is not our first endeavor in podcasting. We did my little fun thing while we were moving and then ended up having to kind of cancel it as we kind of got things rolling with stuff. But yeah, we had some fun conversations there and just got passionate about things we loved. And so Steadfast Rebels is this new endeavor we have been on for, 2 years now?
Almost. We're in our second year of Steadfast Rebels officially.
Officially, we did our LLC. We started our Etsy shop through there. We've gone through shows. And one of the things that we've realized doing the shows that we've been doing is there's a lot of talented artists out there, and we want to have conversations with them.
Yeah, we have met so many cool people, talented people. Just, it's been so much fun to meet so many artists, makers, people doing all kinds of cool shit that they love doing.
They're passionate about.
Yeah.
We get, excited to, get to a show and, talk with them for a short minute. The little time that we have spent with everybody, because we are at the shows and trying to do, in between booths, buying stuff. If you've followed us on social media, we've posted up our art wall that we have in our basement here with all kinds of local artists that we just love, and it helps inspire us to continue creating cool art and crafting and makers and stuff like that. But we're getting way ahead of all of this because the whole point of this whole show is to highlight makers and highlight creativity and explore stuff. We're going to try to talk to local artists, musicians, cooks, bakers, everybody who falls in a category of creativity, because it's what we love doing and we love talking with people and
it's what we've done our whole lives.
Yeah, so let's go back a little bit here and kind of give that introduction episode for people who don't know us, who are first coming on board with us, who have recently met us in the past year of doing shows, and kind of introduce ourselves a little bit. So,
did we even say our names?
We haven't. So we were automatically assuming people know who we are and everything.
Well, that's what titles are for.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't know if I decide to do titles. But go ahead, Kristi.
So I'm Kristi. I've been making since I was a kid. I used to love doing anything and everything creative. I used to write short stories. I learned how to sew when I was just 10 or 11. Used to make jewelry. My favorite thing was about summers having school off was that my mom would take me to the local craft store and let me pick out one or two little craft kits that I could just enjoy doing all summer long, and that's what I would love to do, and pick something new each summer and learn a new craft. I just always making.
Yeah, always making. And also college-wise, you went into...
Yeah, so in school, my favorite subject was always biology or any science-related subject, but I realized pretty early on that, not that it was boring, I love it, I still think it's fascinating, but that it wasn't something that was utilizing my whole brain. It wasn't utilizing that creative side. So I switched my major to film and electronic media. That is what my major was and what my degree is in. Because I love doing production design, costume design, prop, designing props, any of that kind of stuff was super fun. But then I kind of realized that it was also very stressful. and we grew up in Orange County, California, and commuting to Los Angeles, which is where all the film gigs were, sucked. And I didn't love that either. I kind of floundered for a little bit. I, started my first Etsy shop out of college, which I enjoyed. Fell into childcare, but was always had an Etsy shop on the side, was always making on the weekends or after work or before work or in between classes. So when we moved out to Utah and well, the pandemic hit and things happened, realized why not just give it a go full time. So that's how the Etsy shop started.
Yeah, I had a position that was giving us enough kind of flexibility that like you could really go full time. I could help support on the side, but also build what we have built today. And it's really like, yeah, you guys like we'll be giving tours throughout this whole process and everything with you guys because our whole basement we've turned into a workshop for us. And so what we're on right here, this is our 4-foot by 8-foot cutting table that we can cut fabric on. We can create stuff, papers, art, all kinds of stuff, and we have that ability here. There's stuff behind us on both sides. We have workbenches and tools on one side. We have printers. I think the last count I had of printers in here was about 9 or 10.
I don't know. Yeah, between like 3D printer, the resin
3D printers, our special photo printers, our screen printing machines. Like we have a bunch of stuff that allows us to play in different mediums and stuff like that. But again, I'm getting ahead of all of this here.
Yeah.
Myself, I'm Derek, and so I have been. Again, same situation, making since I was a very young age. The earliest memory I have of making was playing with skateboard, the little fingerboard tech decks, making ramps, and my dad teaching me how to use a jigsaw so I can get the curves of the ramps, and then I was using linoleum tile with like stickiness to it to like press on the wood and get the curve, and it worked great. But that's like that's like my earliest memory of like making stuff with my hands and physically, because it's like I wanted toys, I couldn't afford to go buy the brand name stuff, but we had piles of wood, I had tools, and I started making things to spend my creative time. Went through high school with digital media, wood shop, auto body. Well, it was small engines is what it was called back then. We worked on lawnmowers, but we worked on lawnmowers out of a book. We never actually touched a physical engine. But photography.
By that time they'd gotten rid of
all the stuff, yeah, and
classes.
But like did the photography side of things. Played soccer. Knew I wasn't going to go through college playing soccer. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't going to be a career choice for me. And my senior year is actually when I met Kristi through a broadcast class, and I was opportunity to go to a college for costume design. I really wanted to jump into the FIDM Institute for Design and Marketing in LA and do costumes because I toured it my freshman year, and they had movie costumes there on one of their museum sets that they had, and it was like eye-opening. It was like, this is so cool. I can make costumes. This is really cool. But when I got into broadcasting, I realized the camera side of things has been like this cool thing. I've played with cameras before, and I was like, oh, well, if I can film the stuff, I can also make the stuff. So I started buying props, I started making costumes, I started making that stuff, but then I could try to film them with all my camera stuff. Long story short, went to college for interactive media design, was able to learn a lot of digital media, video side of things, working all the... I mean, we're talking, this is 2005, 2000.
Well, we graduated high school in 2005.
And so, for you guys who don't know, we have been doing this for over 18 years now. We've been together for over 18 years now. But it is one of those things where we've continued to grow, continue to make. I've worked for a couple different production companies, doing a bunch of different stuff, building sets, going through the motions that way. I've done over, I think it like last count was like over 1,000 productions between like the live streaming stuff I was doing for some companies, the podcast stuff I was doing for stuff. So there's a lot of like this multimedia thing that I really do enjoy being a part of, but like the thing that always gets me is building with my hands, and like being able to physically make something out of it has always been the exciting part. But
yeah,
that's where we have come to today. And the last podcast we were working on and everything was a personal project of mine where I just got to hang out with friends that were in a similar kind of like passionate like drive that I had, and I could just have conversations in my car with them. And
What was it called?
Passenger seat.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like I was like right on the nose. I called it passenger seat, and I was like, "Hey, my friend's gonna sit in the passenger seat," and we had conversations. We sat in your driveway talking. I was in a ramen parking lot with one of my buddies talking about his Game Boy building experience. I was talking in another parking lot with a buddy from Northern California who was like very passionate about the airsoft world, which I was involved in for a short a minute and everything. And like just hearing all that, and like the biggest thing that came to realization was people having passion for what they're doing. And we are now going on a year of doing shows, not a lot of shows, just trying to get ourselves out there, see what it's about, and putting ourselves like we're being vulnerable kind of thing, and like, exposing.
And by shows you mean like local markets, flea markets, farmers markets,
art shows, DIY,
shows,
things like that stuff. We have a really fun festival that we have here in Utah called DIY Fest. We first moved out here and we attended it, and like we're blown away. Mm-hmm. The talent and the creativity, the amount of like artists that were just putting themselves out there.
I wanted to buy everything.
We bought a lot of stuff. Like we bought a bunch of like prints. We bought a bunch of things. It was really cool, and we walked away from it going, we can do this. Like we need to be here the following year. We need to put ourselves out there, and we signed up for it in April of 2020, right?
No.
2021.
Yeah.
April 2021. We signed up for it.
No,
and that was
2022.
2022, yeah, you're right. 2022, sorry. We signed up for it,
together.
And we didn't know what we were kind of doing. We were kind of going to see what happens, and then, excuse me, sorry, we got into a show called SLC Punk Flea Market that just happened to be like a month before. So we're like, oh, it's a smaller show, let's try that.
Test out our setup, figure out like what we need, what we're doing.
And I think we both fell in love with the community that was there. We fell in love with like the aspect of like putting ourselves out there, and like people instant gratification of like, hey, this is really cool. I didn't care that people didn't necessarily buy our stuff. Like we had sales. It was not bad, but
it was a great show.
It was a great show.
But more than anything, I think it was meeting people and having conversations. And just about common interests. They see something they like, then they want to talk about it. We want to talk about it. It was so gratifying to meet people that were like into our stuff, what we were making, interested in the same things we were interested in.
So we did that first show, and that was July of last year. Mm-hmm. That was our first show. Then we went to DIY Fest, which was
in August next month.
Yeah, which was 3 days. Mm-hmm. We didn't know what we were getting ourselves into with that. Like we're like, okay, let's try this. We're gonna like we're buying stuff off of like the local like Facebook Marketplace, KSL like classifieds, all these things just to try to like make ends meet. We had like a pop-up Easy Up that like we were able to get through online purchase, and it was just like, okay, I think we're fine. We're gonna take some shirts, we're gonna take some prints, we do some of our stuff that we have on Etsy, and it was great.
Yeah.
And so again, it was that like light ourselves, like that fire underneath us to really try, and
we had no idea what to expect.
Yeah, and then we went and we did the local Comic-Con, which is called FanX, and again, like it was awesome. Like it, like the passion again, like, and we have a history of cosplay. Kristi's done plenty of cosplay stuff, and like
we can put some pictures up.
Yeah. There's what do we have? It's a 2 foot by 2 foot head in your
bigger than that. I mean, it's like a massive.
We used a 35-gallon tote, right? Is that what it was?
I don't remember how big it was, but a big plastic tote, filled it with the rapid expanding foam with another tote inside of it, because I was gonna have to carve it out and hollow it out so I could put it over my head.
And it's a Funko.
Yeah, so this all, well, real quick, this backstory. This all started, the little girl that I used to nanny, who was like, love her to death, one of my best friends. I make her costumes every year, and one year she decided she wanted to be the Funko Pop version of Luna Lovegood from Harry Potter. So I said, okay, I'm going to make this thing. It's going to be a big deal. I'm going to make this thing. But if I do, I'm making a matching one for myself, and we're going to the local, this was in California, the local WonderCon, which was a small Comic-Con event. And
I mean, it's not small.
It's not small anymore.
Yeah.
It started out small.
Yeah. It's not San Diego size kind of thing, but it is still a very large event.
It is. But I was like, we're going to go to this together and show these off. And so I made her Luna Lovegood one, and then I made myself Moaning Myrtle Funko Pop cosplay. Yeah. And I made the robe. I hand-dyed everything. Obviously made the head.
Our first time attending FanX here, you did wear that out here. Yeah. And so that was a nice thing. But we still have, like, that's the fun part. Like, we've created these things that we can use, and like they sit up on our shelves and like as decor pieces for us. But
what else are you gonna do with the
expandable foam. Yeah. But it's one of those things where we didn't know what we were doing. We were gonna try stuff. We experimented things, and that's one of the things we really enjoy about the crafting and the creative side of things is we get to try. And I don't know how many times we failed. Like working on that with different attempts and stuff, but in the end that result was amazing. It was awesome. People were so stoked to see it kind of thing, and that was, again, I think that was like kind of like an early introduction into like that, hey, people like what we're doing kind of thing. And so we did the FanX show. We got a booth there. Again, the fun part I think about FanX for me is it's a different demographic of people coming in than like at an art show. And they're like, people are hardcore passion about the fandoms. And I mean, we're not nerds per se, like with we've got Star Wars stuff up there. You have your Luna Love, or no, you have your Moaning Myrtle
pop. Yeah, it's on the sewing machine, right?
We have
there. I can't point backwards.
There's like there's D&D stuff in our basement. There's Star Wars stuff. We're big Star Wars nerds. But like the fandom that comes at a place like FanX, and when they come into your booth and they're wearing their cosplay, or we had a friend that helped us out and she was wearing a Robin cosplay, that like people came in and like, oh my god, this is so cool. And like just that connection that you get with people. And again, I keep using the word passion, but it is one of those things that like it comes through because everybody has this like passion to what they really love, what they do. And places like FanX or art shows or markets or stuff is when you get to meet people that have those similar interests, those similar things. Like we get to get on forums, we get to talk to people, we get to like see that all online and social media and everything, but like it's a totally different like feeling, like being in person and someone sees your art, sees your craft, or like we were at a roller derby event because your skate accessories that you make because of your passion of roller skating, and someone like oh my god, like you make the and like they're like, I have your shirt, and like she literally
like
had
she
her
like
shirt.
recognized it was a weird like, I don't want to say slurred moment, obviously we're not memories, but but it was like she recognized us, and it was just wild. She had one of our shirts that she had bought from us, so it was super cool. She put on her jersey because she was like checking us in, but she's like, oh, I was wearing it, and it's like right on the chair behind her. She's like, oh my god, I can't believe you guys came out to event. And I'm like, it's really cool to meet people and have those conversations with them. So again, coming back to this whole thing is we have met some amazing people in this art world, in this creative space, in this maker space, however you guys want to define what you do. We want to have conversations with you. We want to share, like, we want to know what drives you. We want to know what builds, like, that creative, like, passion for you guys. Yeah, like what lights you up, what makes it worth doing.
Yeah, I mean, we have been very fortunate, and like I say this in a way because a lot of people might like see what we have here and go like, oh my god, you're rich, or I'm like, no, I forget what we saw. We were craft rich. I forget what I saw, but I was laughing.
Like a meme about being irresponsible and spending all of our money on craft stuff, which is
I mean,
kind of true.
Literally this morning we're driving around filling our trunk up with supplies that we're going to make stuff with. And I'm like, I love this because it's not like we're not buying things to like make us, where it makes us happy, but it's not like that fake, like, materialistic happy. It's like, no, I'm going to put my hands on this stuff. I'm going to make things out of it.
No, I'd rather buy $6 jeans from the thrift store so that I can spend more money on fabric to like make cool stuff.
Well, how many times are we at Joann's a week?
Oh my god, I don't know. don't know. A lot.
And so that's one of those things. And so that's the small introduction of what we're doing here and stuff, what we've created, what we're going to continue sharing with you guys. We have a few people lined up that we really want to talk to. And I think for me, one of the biggest things that's driven like this whole conversation back and forth with people is I worked at a senior facility for a short moment, and I would have conversations with the old folks that were living there, and I realized like I love hearing people's stories. I love hearing what people have to say about their life, whether it's high, low. I think everyone has an interesting story, and I think every artist, every person that's being creative, every person that's being putting themselves out there in a vulnerable state kind of thing has something to say. And so, I mean, hey, hopefully we can have those people on here and have those great conversations. But some of the projects we're working on right now. And so one of the projects you just finished about cosplay. Let's go into the cosplay side of things, and let's kind of flip this around our little introduction and really get into some of the stuff we've been making lately. So what was your last project? We literally took it to the mailbox this morning.
So the one we dropped off at the mailbox this morning was a massive, and I mean massive, Moon Knight cloak. So it was the hood and the cape, full half moon cape, ended up being 11 feet wide from tip to tip, full half moon shape, and then the hood with the point, and I mean we can throw up graphics, but you know, the crescent moon and everything. That thing took way longer than I thought it was going to, which is what always happens, because I get into it and I really want to get the details right, and I end up spending way more time on it than I probably should, and I should probably charge way more money, but I do it because I love doing it.
We can literally say blood, sweat, and tears on this one, because a needle did go through your finger.
I did stab myself yesterday.
This is the second time this has happened. Not as bad though, so.
Well, and I think that was actually making one of the hoods, not the cloak. But that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, because I was trying to sew the hood really fast so I could get back to work on the cloak. But yeah, so that one came out pretty great. I'm pretty happy with how that came out. But it hasn't gotten to the customer yet. Well, maybe by the time this comes out.
Oh, by the time this comes out, for sure.
But because I was like, I don't know if he loves it. But but this is the second one that this actually customer has ordered from me. I did Ghost Azrael from Call of Duty for him as well,
which is very cool.
Hooded cloak. And then the other recent one I did, oh my gosh, what was the one I did in between? Now I'm blanking.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of. Oh, you did the Renaissance.
Oh yeah. Oh, that one was really fun too. Yeah. So I did a full like tabard and like poncho style cape and hood set for someone who does LARP, and he has like the whole armor and his weaponry and all of that, and so that was really fun and exciting. Just because I got to like throw my own spin on the design, and yeah.
Well, that's one of those things like. I really like the idea of LARPing kind of thing. So the airsoft side of it, I always call it military LARPing. Like that's because we're playing dress up, we're running around with toy guns, and we're just playing pretend. Like it was 100% LARPing. But like I have bow and arrows. Military. Yeah, I have bow and arrows. I have what do I have?
You have. Swords.
I have a bunch of weapons. I have
wacky
swords.
Like mace things.
Yeah, I have the mace in there. I collect so many weird random things that I just like, that's cool, someone made this, and so I buy it, and it's interesting, and like manufacturing and all this stuff is just a really cool process to me with that. But the crazy part, and like I had a buddy in Airsoft who wanted this hood to look like a video game player. Mm-hmm. That hood, you designed it almost 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago now.
That was for Assassin's Creed
style, right? And that's what they were on. So he wanted his paintball mask to fit underneath it. He wanted the hood to go over.
I feel like that was more like 4 years ago, because it was before we moved here.
Yeah, it was just before we moved. You were able to make that. But yeah, so about 4 years.
But just a like basic large style hood, like you said, so it would fit over the helmet, and then an infinity scarf that would loop around and be
protection from getting shot with BBs and stuff like that, paintball things. But that has turned into the craziest. I think is we've gotten someone asking for a 1/6 scale version of it for their action figure.
Yep. I made one for a little action figure. It was for a Darth Maul.
Yeah, you actually took my storm or my scout
trooper. Oh, I know. I haven't put it back yet. It's supposed to be up there on the speeder bike.
Yeah, to use the size and everything. But you've now made multiple cosplay, like, full things that aren't even listed on our stuff and everything. But just because... But that also goes back to your wizard robes, because that was, like, one of the first starts with your cosplay.
My magical school wizard robes.
Yeah. You got a cease and desist.
Which I still got a cease and desist for. Because they were legit... It still hurts a little inside, because those were legit amazing Harry Potter... inspired movie robes. I mean, they weren't exact replicas, with several, purposeful details being changed because I thought they looked better, but they were amazing. They were way better quality than you could get at the theme parks or anywhere else. And I would make each one custom to customers' sizes. I would have a whole measurement sheet that I had them fill out for me. And I had so many customers who were like, I don't fit into the robes at the parks. I'm plus size, I'm tall, I'm whatever. And so it was really gratifying to make those one of a kind for each person.
Yeah.
And they were beautiful. They were so nice.
Yeah, and I mean,
I got a cease and desist because they were too good.
They shipped around the world to people, and that was really cool. But now these hoods have kind of given us a step back into the cosplay, LARPing, costume, like Renaissance, all these different things.
And full circle back to my college degree, and the reason I got a degree in film in the first place was because I loved production design, props, costumes. Yeah,
and so that was that whole side of things, and now we've got these cool opportunities that, like, people just reach out to us and go, hey, can you make this?
Well, I had the one theater department from a university contact me and ask me to make a set of 4 hoods for them to use on stage. So I was like, well, that's cool.
Yeah, so, and then
there's my film degree. Use it.
Well, that's you're working right now, so you've got someone contacting you about making a silk version of the hood and stuff.
For a general cosplay from
That's one of those fun things we get to do with that, but that's the Moon Knight was your latest and greatest and everything with
that's one of the bigger ones I've done.
Yeah, that one took a couple weeks to kind of get done, and a couple different, like, move from upstairs to downstairs, move
because it was
here,
so big, there was nowhere to put it. We had to move all the furniture out of our living room. I had to, like, vacuum the rug, make sure everything was clean, lay all the fabric out, because it was 11 feet wide.
Yeah,
and so heavy and so massive. And my back was hurting that night because I was just, like, on the floor bending over lifting all this fabric. Trying to, like, lift it on my sewing table so I could sew a more than 11-foot hem. But fun.
I mean, and you'll do it all again.
Absolutely.
That's the reality.
Well, I might want to take a break before I do that exact one again, but yes.
But hopefully the customer who, once he receives it and everything, because like Kristi said, he hasn't received it yet. We shipped it out this morning to him.
Yeah, put it in the mail
and so hopefully he's super excited, and we potentially see it out in the world in some cool photos later on. I imagine he'll probably be at some of the local Comic-Cons to where he's at and everything, and that will be a fun time to kind of see that. And
because he has the rest of the costume.
Yeah, because a couple times we've seen things pop up out there in the world, and, like, your Moni Myrtle, like, cosplay, like, pop up in a couple blog things.
The Moni Myrtle, the photo of me and Moni Myrtle and Luna Lovegood, the two Funko Pop ones, one of two of us together, that photo's popped up in quite a few different places.
Yeah, and that's always exciting. A very, like, surreal, like, experience when, like, that kind of stuff happens, because we're not doing any of these things for publicity. We're not doing any of these things for,
if we were, I don't know if we'd be doing a very good job of
it.
No, we clearly do it because it's what we are passionate about.
Yeah, and that's one of those fun things that we get to continue doing, and it's like we've had conversations in the past and everything. We're not driven by money in that sense, and I know it sounds cheesy and cliche and all this stuff, but, like, money is
necessary, but it's not a motivating factor for either one of us.
No, like, the amount of, like, things I have just purchased just to try something. Just, like, I tell people who, like, have conversations with me about, it's like, what's $20? Like, throw it at some paint, throw it at, like, carving tools, throw it at stuff. Like, I go back to, like, my dad always, like, buy the right tool for the job kind of thing. And probably not the best, like, advice to give when, like, you do so many things. Tools are expensive, so you have tools for so many.
I'm just looking around the room. Again, we will show tours of our basement space, but, like, it's a little ridiculous.
I can look across, and there's 2 leather ponies there. There's a tape dispenser. There's 3 presses.
You literally can't. It would take us an
4
hour
presses.
to name everything just on that shelf.
On that shelf.
Just on that shelf. And then there's that shelf, and that shelf, and that shelf, and that shelf.
We've gotten much better. Like, what you guys see behind us looks very clean. And everything, what you guys don't see below on the table, underneath the table.
And that shelf, and that
over
shelf.
there. And then what's crazy is because we got done with shows this past weekend, which, if you guys haven't visited the Ogden Farmers Market.
Farmers Market Ogden.
Market Ogden, sorry.
Is their Instagram.
Yeah. Super cool event. Another one of those ones where like I came back, I'm like, oh, I'm making some cool stuff. Like even after the long day so we did Saturday at the Farmers Market in Ogden. Mm-hmm. And then we did the Big Cotton.
Big Cottonwood Canyon, so BCC Flea Market.
And
on
that's
Sunday.
gorgeous.
That's up at Brighton Resort.
Yeah.
Such a nice location. You couldn't ask for a better place to be sitting and chatting with people and selling things because you're just surrounded by gorgeous mountain views.
Yeah, and there's still snow up there and everything. So there's snow in the parking lot. There's all kinds. But it was one of those. It was a very busy weekend. But again, coming home Sunday night after doing the back-to-back shows and doing a soccer game as well. In between that, I was downstairs in my office working, and then after we kind of got done with that, or I got done with that, I was upstairs on my iPad drawing stuff because I was inspired to create more stuff, kind of thing, because it was that high of people like what they saw, kind of thing. And so it's very therapeutic to just come downstairs and be able to create anything we want to create. We have an idea, try it, see what happens. And
it's so fun that we get to share this space, and that's something we want to build towards even more, is sharing this with friends, with people we
other
meet.
Creatives.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of the conversations we had coming down from one of the shows, because we met somebody up there and they're talking about, hey, we should see about working together. She does really good, cool tie-dye art.
Awesome tie-dye.
Hopefully we can get her on the show and kind of talk about her passion with the tie-dye stuff. But I do screen printing, and so she's like, we should collab, or I want to learn screen printing. And all. It's and we came down the mountain, we're like, man, this is why we need a barn and everything.
We need a property with a whole second structure that we can be a studio, that we can just have
share with people,
classes, have people come in to use tools. I mean, that's the dream.
that definitely, because the thing that I don't want to hold this to myself. I don't want to keep what I have. I tell everybody I meet that's creative. I have a lot of friends that I've worked with in the past. I'm like, guys, I have the tools. I have spent the time. I have done the research to get
years collecting all these
this
tools.
Come use it. Come be creative with it. Then we have friends that come down and I forget, it was you had your friends come down and you guys were just making wreaths.
Yeah, we had a craft night. Me and my girlfriends were making wreaths, and one of my friends, we went to Evermore Park, which was super fun, and she always wanted to have a little corset top in that Ren Fair kind of style, and I was like, well, come over and we'll make it. We'll make the pattern. You have the fabric already. Let's just make it happen. So I have all the equipment, the tools. Let's do it, and we did in an afternoon.
And I think that's a very gratifying feeling also of sharing and teaching and passing on what we have, kind of thing. And so that's a really exciting thing for the future of all of this for us and everything, because like I said, even if this podcast goes nowhere for us, this is just a fun side project for us that I love doing this multimedia side of things, and I've done it. How many years have I been doing this? So if you
count from high school, because that's when we started with our BBN. Oh, you can't see it, but we have.
I think they can see it on your camera, just over your shoulder, kind of thing.
Our high school news program. That was 2000. Well, for me since 2002, but for you since 2004. Yeah.
But I get an itch. I get. It's I tell people, because the drug of my choice is cameras. I've gone into debt for cameras. I have purchased, since college, I'm probably over 100 cameras. Between all my film stuff.
Guys, there was a point in time where it was cameras are ranked here, I was ranked here.
I think, at that time.
I was just going to say, I was hoping since we're married that maybe I got bumped up above cameras, but maybe not.
I kind of bought new cameras for this. I didn't tell you, but...
I know you did. I know.
I know. I don't keep anything from you. No. I come over like, there's this camera that's on sale that's a really good price.
How
I think I'm going to buy
much?
it. And I'm like, we can afford it, I think. And then we're going to go for it. It's like, it's really good. And then I sell the whole idea of it. And then we go.
Well, and it's not like I'm a hard sell.
Yeah, I know.
Either, so.
Yeah. And so, but that is, I've thought about this multiple times, and I was listening. Like, I bought some vintage speakers recently, and so I've been listening to some records. We have a record player, and grew up on records with my dad. He used to DJ. I've had CD folios of music, so music has always been a very big passion. Through college era, I worked with a lot of different bands, doing photography, videos for them, music videos, different stuff like that. So like it's come down to like where my passions, again, lack of another word, it revolves around music, cameras, and creativity kind of thing. And I think the cameras and the music could like express creativity in their own right, but like I will go back to like I was sitting listening to an Incubus vinyl record yesterday just with the speakers, like I think maybe 2 feet away from me, just kind of listening, and I was zoning out because I haven't listened to the album in a while, and just happened to have it there, popped it in, and I was like, it's that like thing that goes back to, oh yeah, music drives a lot of the choices I make. Cameras drive a lot of the choices I make. And then that creativity that just flows between those things. And again, it goes back to the artists with the musicians, and the passion that you got with certain artists. And I was very fortunate to be behind the backstage with people, and kind of got their pre-game before their shows, their post-game after shows, and their feelings and their emotions and all this stuff. I think it was a very cool experience to have at a very young age, fortunately, that like I saw what passion and like drives people, and like that motivation for it. And so, like I said, like cameras are that drug, and like I played guitar, not good, so I get better. I felt better with cameras.
He wrote me a song.
I think there's a few. I never played them. They were written, but they never got played.
You played for me once.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh God, cringe.
Well, since I was in love with you, I was, pretty spoony.
Oh,
but,
God,
yeah, looking back now, probably pretty cringe.
Yeah, pretty cringe, probably. Yeah, it was probably.
But it was high school. There were so many like hormones raging.
Yeah.
We were just so in love.
All right. Well, yeah, that's a little bit about us. Is there anything else we want to kind of cover down on this first episode? We're going to be sharing so many stories as we go forward. We've have a lot of years of doing this, building this, growing this. We'll get deeper into some of the details on some of the stuff. We might just do a full episode on your cosplay stuff. Go back in time with the
to like
wizard
mentally
things
prepare
for those days. But like hopefully, like with the guests we get on, we have great stories with them as well. Conversations about the thing that really drives them with that stuff. But anything else on this like kind of first little episode here?
I think that was a pretty good lengthy introduction.
Yeah. Didn't talk too much, didn't share too much, didn't go on.
Tell us.
Yeah, you tell us. So guys, what we will ask and everything, if you guys are liking and enjoying this stuff, want to see more of us, we're hopefully going to get on a regular schedule with this and be able to share some of the stuff we're doing, keep you guys updated, but follow us on social media. We try to do our best with keeping you guys up to date with different events we're doing, different shows we're doing, different projects we're working. Yeah. At Steadfast Rebels, you've got yourself is at DelightfullyKristi, at producer Derek. I'll get into that story one time on how that all happened and everything. But you can see everything we're creating, the art, the drawings, the multimedia stuff, the different mediums we're playing with. I mean, I don't know how many stores we went today just looking for materials and things like that. And we'll share tips where we plan on doing some videos and like how we make our stuff, how we go about finding
some tutorial
our materials. I think one of the things that we really enjoy about is that we're very resourceful. We look at recycled goods. We try to use a lot of stuff from upcycle. realm. We get inspired by other people who go that same thing. It is a very hot topic right now, trying to make sure we have this planet for the future kind of stuff.
Do our best to divert stuff from the waste stream.
Yeah, and so, but yeah, that's I think that's gonna do it for us today on this episode of Always Making. That's weird to say, but yeah, it's so we're gonna try this out and see how it goes, and we've got some shows coming up that we hopefully will meet some great people and have them on board with us and have their stories told.
Yeah, like and subscribe if you want to see more.
Oh God, we're doing that. All right, guys, bye.